Good afternoon, YouTube. Man, always George Page, aka the Emperor of WMA Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Here we have a special guest, and here this is what makes me so proud about doing this. This is someone in my home state of North Carolina, in my own backyard. This is one Miss Katie Perez, better known as, I think you better say it better than I do, because I'm not my Spanish is not that good.
Maquina Asesina.
Maquina Asesina. All right. Yeah, she is a fighter out of Invicta. She's been fighting for quite some time. She fights at 105, and for you who don't follow MMA that first, 105 is atom weight. It's mostly the women, and that's division mostly. Not as many men, but it's to me it's a kind of a strong growing division. And we're going to talk about her career, how she got to MMA, what future can you see, and do she deserve to be in the UFC? I think she does. And we want to get you started, lovely young lady. Now, tell us your background, your story, and are you a Tar Heel born?
So I'm actually from South Dade County, Miami, is where I was born. But I know, but I did grow up in North Carolina. I grew up in Summerfield, and went to school in Greensboro, Summerfield, and then I went to college out in Western Carolina. So I've been pretty much in North Carolina most of my life.
So now you're a Tar Heel bred, not Tar Heel bed. Yeah, okay. Now the big question is, what got you such a violent sport like mixed martial arts?
It's interesting. It's an interesting way to put that question, because I think everyone asks at some point, what got you into this? But to frame it with that it is such a violent sport. I got into martial arts when I was really little. Actually, my brother started a karate class, and I had to do everything my big brother did. Albeit better. That was what I wanted. Very competitive, but he got into it, and then kind of dropped out of it. It just wasn't for him. And then I got into it around the same time and just kind of stuck with it. And it really appealed to me in a lot of ways, for a lot of reasons. Main thing being, other than the physical outlet, because I was never really into team sports. I wasn't super good at them. And then I also just kind of had a hard time gelling with my social peers. I was pretty awkward and always nose in a book, that kind of thing. But yeah, I was always drawn to martial arts because I grew up on stories of heroes and adventures, like medieval fantasy books and movies. That's what I was brought up on, these stories of honor and integrity, and that's what I was drawn to. And martial arts was in a kind of weird roundabout way, a way for me to touch that time. Even if it's medieval fantasy isn't a real time, but if you're doing a martial art that has its roots in something 1,000 years ago, you're kind of touching that time in a weird way, through the tradition, through the art itself. And so I really, really loved that aspect of martial arts, and I fell away from it in college. And I got really out of shape, and my life kind of went off the rails. I lost all direction. I think a lot of people kind of experience sort of a crucible in their life where things just kind of go to crap. And then I got back into training almost on a whim. There was a weird confluence of events that brought me into the gym. But ultimately, I just was I need that structure in my life again, because it feeds me. It gives me purpose and drive and focus. And I got back into it, never, ever dreaming that I would compete in MMA at all, let alone professionally. I thought maybe I would do some jiu-jitsu tournaments. They'd be fun, and I'd get back into that. I did a few of those when I was in high school. It was a good time. But yeah, it reawakened something in me that made me feel really, truly alive. And that's honestly that's what I chase, and it's whenever I, have the opportunity to fight, I get so excited. It's just because that's when I feel the most alive, and it's so raw and visceral and real. I love it. I don't, maybe it's because that it's violent. Maybe it's because the pace of it and the 1v1 nature of it. It's not like there's somebody in the outfield, and if they don't catch the ball, your team loses or something. It's no, it's all on you. And it's But at the same time, it is so team oriented because you can't train by yourself. Like you need to have good teammates. You need to have an amazing coach. You need to have these things. So it's a really, really cool sport. That's a super, super reductive way to put it, but it's a really incredible sport that just feeds every aspect that I need. So
Yeah. So like the quote, one of my favorite Batman villains, the from the Dark Knight, Joker, it completes you.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Completes me. I'm so miserable when I can't train. Like even if I was like sick and I just need to stay away so I don't get everyone else sick or something like that, or if I have an injury, I'm still like in there, kind of like limping around. I can't stay away. It's as much for my mental sanity as anything else.
Yeah, it's something like this is before your time. You probably wasn't even born. There was a movie called New Jack City, and Chris Rock played a character named Pookie. He was a drug dealer, became a crackhead, and there's a part where he'd be like, man, be calling me man. He's addicted to it. So you're addicted to it. He calling you man, he calling you dad, man. You can scat, he's calling you.
Yeah.
Here we got my brother Marcus Bell from my CS Combat Sports family. Salute to all the way George Page, and hello Katie. Say hello to Marcus, Katie.
Hello, Marcus.
Hey, how you doing? We appreciate y'all coming through. Like, comment, subscribe. Also, if you are interested in getting in contact with Miss Perez, I got her social media stuff in the description. Also, if you're someone who's interested in donating to a fighter, because and like I said, being a fighter is not very, especially if you're not in the big organizations. Even if you're like Organization Invicta, which is a great organization, I'm a fan of Shannon Knapp and the organization. These fighters can use all the help you can get. And if you want to be a sponsor, you can contact her. You can also, she has a PayPal. You want to send something to assist her in her next upcoming fight. Anything you want to do for her. So now, what was that feeling when you first got into that cage? When you get in there, it's like 2 men enter, 1 man must leave.
Well, two women enter. I mean, I don't get that. Sometimes the ref is a guy, so that works.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So the first time ever, gosh, I think my internal monologue was just like, it was just a constant scream. There was no like thought process, which if you go back and I've watched that fight a couple times where I'm just like, oh my gosh, like technically very bad, just very like forward driving, but it was also one of the most like honest moments of my entire life. It was just like, oh, cool. I'm allowed to actually hit this person. Like, even in training, we pull our punches because, we're not trying to get concussions in training. That's, it's just dumb. You shouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm allowed to do this thing I've been told my entire life not to do. I'm and they're trying to hurt me. And there's something really freeing about that. It's like, oh, the rules of this game are very, very simple. It's like, it's so much easier than regular life. Any like social situation, there's like all these rules of like what I have to respect. I have to like bear this in mind. I don't know this about you in your past. And then like all these things in a fight, don't do illegal stuff. Try to win.
Yeah, like basically like in boxing, no rabbit punch about the head, no hit below the belt, stuff like that. And with your sport is that compared to boxing, you have multiple tools, not just your fists. You have your elbows, your knees, every sense of the world. Your body is a complete weapon. Where in other sports it's like if you're boxing, you just your weapon is just your fist, but everything here is like you can go on opponent, and then and that feeling when that first hit you get, or that feeling when you get hit in the jaw, what's that like? I mean, I've been in some fights, but never really anything too heavy duty.
Okay. Honestly, I've never actually felt a strike to the face. And that's super not being disrespectful to my opponents. I attribute a lot of that to adrenaline. It's like you hear the sound, you hear this like hollow fuck noise. It's like, what was that? I probably shouldn't let that happen to me anymore. That's probably not good for me. I've never been hurt from a strike to the face. I felt a knee once to my ribs. That was like, oh, we're gonna stop. That's not allowed. Russ, I'm gonna stop you.
You feel like, oh shit, I want to turn over myself.
Yeah, but honestly, like the rest of it, I've never really been hurt in a fight. My face is kind of like belligerently unmarked a lot of the time, and it's almost like I'll go to work the next day. It's like, I thought you were in a fight. I'm like, I know, but it just refuses. But yeah, fun fact, I've received more like black eyes from training specifically with someone in the kids class than from actual professional MMA fights. And it's just like just
So,
one of those funny things about life.
so you're saying that MMA fighter can't hit hard as a little kid? Ooh.
No, not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I don't expect the little kid to just like whap with their arm. No, and it's just like it's a cool thing. You get a little bit of that because your adrenaline is so high, your perception is really, really precise. There's a little bit of time dilation where everything feels a little too slow, a little too fast. Like you feel like you've been in there forever, and then the bell goes and they're like, go back to your corner, and you're like, we just started. It's like, oh, it's over. It's cool. It's a very, very unique experience. I've done a lot of adrenaline chasing in my life, from scuba diving to skydiving to all kinds of whatever, and then nothing compares to somebody trying to take your head off in a cage. It's just nothing compares.
Yeah, I don't know about skydiving. I'm a kind of big dude. I think I don't want to jump out of the plane. Now, the thing is you have your family. You talk about your brother. How your parents feel about when you started getting to the mixed martial arts age?
They are. I'm gonna backtrack, like kind of do it in reverse order because they are so amazing right now. They are the poster for the most supportive parents. I can't even begin to describe how grateful I am for that. When I started, there I think was a reticence, like a sense of like, oh, I mean, don't get hurt, like go have fun. I want you to be happy, but like make good choices for your life. And I think a lot of people within the sport have to deal with that because it's the kind of thing that comes from a place of love. It's like, oh, I don't want to see you get hurt. But hearing someone say that, it's like it implies that they're pretty sure you're gonna get hurt if you do this. And that's not really good for the confidence. And you need confidence to go into a fight. Like you need to. You shouldn't go in there if you're like, I am doomed. That shouldn't be your attitude. That shouldn't be your attitude for anything. Despair is counterproductive. But yeah, it took them some time to fully embrace it. Like when I started getting cauliflower ear, it's like, oh, your ear is deformed. Things like that. I'm worried you're going to get like, head trauma and you won't be you anymore. Or now that didn't come specifically from them, but that's the kind of stuff that you hear. And, I think a lot with, I've done a lot of pursued a lot of paths in my life. That's a better way to put it. Like I got into theater in high school, and then I pursued it through college. And it was like, I want you to pursue your dreams, but maybe also get a business degree so that if the dreams don't work out, you can still like make a living and stay alive. And I think I never really committed to that goal. I never really sold myself on the dream of theater in the way that I have completely committed to MMA. And I think part of like that is why my parents are so supportive. Like there's no like, oh, there's not even a hint of you shouldn't be doing this, or maybe you need to reevaluate. There's never a hint of that because I think they see one, how much healthier and happier I am. And I don't just mean like healthy, like I'm in better shape and I'm all these things, which is 100% true. I wasn't like physically in the best place when I started training, but I also am so much more mentally healthy, much more emotionally balanced. I have purpose, and everything that I do gets to be placed against the goal. Do I want to eat this? Is it going to help me in my goal, or is it not going to help me in my goals? It's not, I'm not going to eat it. If it is, I will. It makes everything simple. Do I want to do this activity? Do I want to try this thing? Everything gets really, really just easy, like decision wise, which has always been a struggle for me. I'm kind of a creature of action. If you put a task in front of me, I do well. But if you just kind of like put me in a space where I don't know what to do, I need that direction. I need that purpose. And so MMA has provided that for me. And I think it shows so effectively that my parents are just amazingly on board. They're always telling their friends and my family when I'm fighting. And yeah, they're amazing. I couldn't be more humbled by their involvement in my life. And our relationship is so much closer now too. Like we have such a better relationship.
Yeah, I think I learned that, and when you get older, like I know when I used to live with my mom for a long time. You know, we're children. You know, your parents and your child. But we get older, when you get to adulthood, you become, I would say, equals, but you have understanding of each other.
Yeah.
Because your mama goes, because you're the youngest, right? Your family.
Yep, youngest of two.
Yeah, and you're always gonna be your mama's baby. And your mama could say she's sitting there, she watch you fight, and and maybe she might one day want to jump in that ring and beat that person. You beat up my baby. That's my baby.
Actually, it's totally the other way around. My mom would be like, she signed the waiver, she's fine. My dad would be like, yeah, my mom is like, she's gosh, she's so hard to impress when it comes to she's awesome. I absolutely love my mom. She would be sat on the side like, I mean, she signed a contract saying she wanted to do this, so she has to do it now. And my dad would be like, I can't handle it, I'm gonna go fight somebody. It's definitely my dad and may have that relationship.
Yeah, because you're his little girl, you're his baby girl. He don't, I mean, he probably go out and speak in a man of the street after you see that you getting beat up. Yeah. We got here King Dale Clark. He says, keep up the good work, brother. Appreciate you, Dale, King Dale. Also, my brother XA Gucci 23. Hey, George Page. I appreciate brother coming through. As I said again, like, comment, subscribe. Also, I got a rule, folks. When I do interviews with some of these ladies, no D pics, you sick freaks. None. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. And then, like I say, also, like I said, like I was looking at your social media, you like to do cosplay, stuff like that. And yeah, it's kind of fun. Like I used to, like when I was a kid, when we was young, we used to imagine and have fun, stuff like that. I couldn't afford to put on makeup and stuff like that, like I used to. But it shows you that you have a great personality for that. And I think I saw on your one of your big idols is Roxanne Modafferi, as we call her Grandma Roxy. I watched her fight against Casey O'Neill, and what was that feeling watching your favorite fighter, hang it up, that put her down her 6 guns and walk away?
It was a big moment. I think because it wasn't really just Roxy, was it? It was that whole generation. The word pioneer gets used a lot, but you have your Julie Kedzis. You just there's so many fighters from that era who fought not just each other like within the sport, but they fought to be respected. They fought to be seen. They fought to have the right and the opportunity to be treated as athletes, as equals in the sport. And it was, I think my favorite moment within that, not even just the fight itself, but when she said, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of what I've done here. That was so fulfilling to hear. Because, it's true. She's been so consistently, bluntly honest her entire career. And it's the kind of thing that anytime you see a fighter retire, there's always the question, like, who am I without this thing I've been doing? I've devoted my life to. Who am I without fighting? That's a bridge I'm gonna cross when I get to it, because I have no desire to look at that bridge right now. Like that's way down the line. It is just, it's so all consuming. Everything, the diet, the recovery, the sleep schedule, the training, the work schedule around training, everything that you do becomes about the fight, about being the best fighter you can be, about leveling up and evolving and being, the most, the best version of yourself for this sport specifically. And it's a big deal. And it's anytime you see a fighter retire, there's always like, are you going to be back? Or, are they trying to get out before like the shine rubs off or anything like that? Roxanne didn't do MMA for anybody else on this planet. She did it for her, and she retired when she was ready. And, I have a lot of respect and admiration for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because right here, my man Marcus Bell dropped Dancing Granny, how you call it. But yeah, that's the thing is I do content on bodybuilding. And when I hear, like, especially I do a lot on women's bodybuilding, especially when I hear one of my favorite female bodybuilders retire. I mean, like, oh God, it's just like, we're not gonna see you come. We still got the memories of what you did and stuff like that, but so it's not the same when we see you in person. Now you have been fighting Invicta 2 fights. You were in the Phoenix series, with the same series with Jessica Bonet, who's now your champion in your division. You fought against Lindsey Van Zant, and then on that same card you had Samantha Sif, who you fought in the amateurs.
Yes.
Would it be interesting if you had fought her at that show because maybe get back from that loss?
I think any fight would be interesting. Honestly, atom weights are fun to watch. For me in particular, I I don't think it would be different from fighting anyone else. End of the day, it's a person with 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head, and you're there to incapacitate them in some way, whether that's through a submission, whether that's through a TKO, whether that's through that's you're there to ask that to get that person to quit, to want to give up, and or to get the ref to save them. If they're too stubborn, and
Or like,
it's.
go ahead.
I was just gonna it's. Um, I try not to attribute too much to whom I'm fighting or what their experience level is, or I've actually never fought anybody with less experience than me. I don't think. I've always kind of gone into it as like the scrappy, unexpected person, and it's none of that stuff really matters at the end of the day. Who it is or who they fought, or because on that night everything else falls away. It doesn't matter how amazing you looked in training yesterday. Tonight's a new night, and also it doesn't matter how you look in that fight. Tomorrow's a new day. So it's kind of one of those. We struggle, especially with defeat, because it is so bitter. In particular, when you could have done more. You're like, man, I just made a stupid mistake, and I have to own that. And I have to live with that mistake forever, because that's how time works. You can't go back and fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And it is frustrating, but if you let it own you, then you can't move forward and you can't make better choices in the future. So I think we would have put on a hell of a fight. That's what I'll say about that.
Yeah. I know with defeat, people don't think defeat's like this thing. Defeat, you learn something from it. You get, education. It's a way to motivate you to go on to fight and win. I also remember when your next fight was that they were saying at the I think it was Invicta 44 how you got your check, you got paid, but they said you didn't cash your check. Please, girl, don't tell me you didn't.
I didn't cash that check for a long time. Until Shannon told me I needed to.
Yeah. He said, I'd be like, if I was your, I'd be like, if I was your dad, said, baby, you better take that money. Like take that money and run. Like I'd be like, I like quoting movies. Like I was like, Jake, give me that money. I'm gonna get that gun. And that's what you better take that money and run. I mean, it's one thing. When things is 90 days, it's getting expensive. So when you got some money, you got it. Like I say, you had it stuck on your wall here. So you know what? Rent's coming up. Chicky.
I think so. It's funny because I never intended for this to be like a thing that anybody knew about. It was just going to be between me and Shannon, and it's just I felt like my performance that night didn't deserve compensation, and I didn't want to put Invicta, this company I have massive respect for, out that amount of money that they freely that's what they're. This is the contract. This is what you get paid, and I was like. I was so disappointed in my lack of performance. I felt like I never showed up. I felt like I didn't give them the Katie Perez that they were promised, that they signed. And I was, I was very disappointed in myself and what I did and what didn't do. And I didn't feel like I deserved that. And I do struggle a lot with the concept of deserving. But yeah, it was just. It didn't feel right. And then, I wanted to be able to compensate my coach, obviously, for his time. And I wanted to be able to, cover travel costs so that it wasn't, devastating because we drive out. But I wanted to keep that check forever. And I actually do still have the physical check. I made my bank give it back to me as a reminder of what I don't want to do and don't want to be, but also as a it's not all negative. It's also, the fact that there are people whom I respect massively, Shannon Knapp among them.
Yeah,
do believe that my performance, my abilities are worthy of compensation, are worthy of being, a professional, a paid athlete, and that's why I hesitated, because I felt like I didn't give a professional's performance. I didn't behave as I should have, performance-wise, technique, all that. So I didn't I don't know. I was in a weird place about it, and she did make me cash it. So thanks,
Yeah,
Shannon.
yeah. Shannon Knapp, if you not know, Shannon Knapp is the president of Invicta FC. One of the only, well, now there's two women organizations now if that's dedicated to women. There's Victor, that's the one in Canada. I remember I sent you some a link to them a while back ago, and I'm a fan of Shannon Knapp because she has put on a great show. I know people are not too big a fan of women in mixed martial arts, but y'all ladies work just as hard as the men. Like it's just like in as I said, in cut down bodybuilding. It's just like in men's bodybuilding, the women don't get recognized. It costs just about as much to train and compete and get ready, and and you should be compensated. I think you should at least get enough where okay, I can pay my bills, have enough in my pocket, so I won't have to seem like I'm breaking even. I want to be keep myself in the black instead of being in the red all the time. And and we talk. There's a debate on how it's in UFC and other organizations where fighters should be paid more. If you I put it like this: if you follow boxing, I used to follow boxing a long time as a kid. If you compare the top male boxer, okay, let's say like we talk about, I'm gonna say Floyd Mayweather. Floyd didn't get out of bed for nothing less than $10 million. Compare him to Conor, who he fought. Conor makes not as much as a second tier boxer, a guy who don't even have a title, and he has titles, he has his recognition, but he still don't make as much. And as a fighter, you should get compensated. I understand that your mindset is that I can do my best, I shouldn't get this, but you know what? You got bills to pay, you got people to pay, you got things you got to do, and you should, like I said, maybe not, like I tell people I used to work with me, I don't expect you to be perfect, but I do expect you to be thorough. And it's your right that you go out there, you put on a performance, you take a beating, you throw a beating, and you should get paid for that because you're entertaining us as people.
Yeah, no, I do, and actually, I think there's an interesting element to that a lot of people miss is that like yes, your top tier boxers, and then maybe your second tier boxers are making that kind of bank, but if you go down like one more, it goes to peanuts. And I think something that gets lost a little bit in the wash of oh, I want to make more and I want to do is that your median salary for a UFC fighter is it's not a pittance, it's not pennies. And yes, a lot of it is lost to taxes, and a lot of it is lost to the training costs, and a lot of it is lost to all these things. But for me personally, this is my profession. But even before it's my profession, it's my passion. It's like I would do this if they didn't pay me at all. I need this. Yeah, and I don't mind like saying it, and I know that's it's not necessarily helpful to the landscape because like you're saying, like we're professional athletes, just like any other athlete, a baseball player, a football player, a basketball player, we should make enough to live. It's our profession. We shouldn't have to also work a second or third job on the side. Like that's, if you want to be an athlete, the best athlete you can be every second of every day should be devoted to your craft. And you're going to be able to see a difference in performance, in quality of the sport, in overall entertainment value when you have athletes who are able to dedicate that kind of time and not just like a couple weeks right before a fight where they're just trying to like brush off, kind of get everything to a fine polish. If we're working every single day and like you wake up and you train and then you recover and then you train and then you eat lunch and then you recover and then you train and like you're able to structure your life almost in a more like militaristic style where everything is about being the best, in this case warrior, that you can be for this sport. I think the overall quality of fights will go up. I think the stress level on the athletes outside of the fights will go down, and that will allow just better flow in general, which is why I have so much love and respect for what Shannon is doing. Because Invicta is head and shoulders above a lot of other opportunities. I think for women in particular, but for martial artists, MMA fighters in general, there's a reason she was inducted to the International Sports Hall of Fame today. Literally, like today. Her contributions to the sport have been so massive. So I'm massively honored to be a part of her baby, her dream, Invicta.
Yeah, that's the thing is, and I think like this, I have a lot of respect for Shannon Knapp, and I think what she'd be perfect was, as over in UFC, they need somebody like her to take over. Like Dana White, he's there, he's just a figurehead. He just needs steps aside. give the women's division over to Shannon. She can probably bring the fighters you want to see, give more opportunities. Also, is they just did they got a tough coming up. Yeah, Amanda Nunes and Pena, and instead of this year, there was supposed to be talk about 105 coming to UFC. And the thing people say like, well, 105 is small girls, yeah, UFC now, but you girls, you fight hard. A great boxer. You never heard of her. You never heard of her. Her name is Ann Wolf, Ann Brown Sugar Wolf, probably one of the best female boxers around. She said that when men fight, they act like they're more like they're making love. When women fight, we go all out. And when you smaller girls like you and Zapatella and Jessica Bonet and all the rest of these girls in that division, y'all go hard. Y'all, I mean, you take some, you give some whoopings, you take some whoopings.
Yeah.
And your champions, he said that they should be 105 in Invicta because in UFC because I heard Alicia she's stepping up to 115 because if she were with 115 they'll pick her up quicker. But 105 you'll see faster fights. I think you may not see a lot of knockouts. You see submissions still, but you see the fights go a little faster. Sometimes some fights in the bigger divisions can go a little slower.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. I think atom weights are an exciting fight to watch, not just because I am one, but like we're smaller, we are faster. We do tend to have better gas tanks. Another thing that you'll notice, we tend to be more technical, and there's a really easy reason for that. We're the smallest people at our gym. So for us to have any success rolling with our training partners, we have to be hyper accurate with our techniques. They have to be really precise, like really perfect. Like I can't sweep most of the guys in my gym unless I'm doing it exactly right. And that translates into the way that we fight. So I think you do see more technical striking, more technical groundwork. But on top of that, you remember like that strength to weight ratio is really high, and so like the smaller athletes, yes, we are littler, but we're just as capable of knockouts, of those big exciting like high crotch takedowns, of big old hip tosses, of slams. We're just as capable of that, and I think you'll see that the more of the atom weights that you watch, because those fights are out there. We get knockdowns, we get that kind of stuff, but we just so happens we're very durable as well. So like I had a fight just before I signed with Invicta where got a big overhand right, touched my opponent, completely fell to the ground. I was shocked that she fell down. I think she was too, but it was just like, that kind of stuff happens, but we're so durable. She got right back up and we were right back at it. And like, that to me, that's a fun fight. I want to watch fights like that. Just constant fireworks, constant throwing bombs, constant really high level technical jiu-jitsu. That's what I want to see. So like, that's what I want to be a part of as well. Are these firefights that are just fun to watch?
Yeah, it's like being a little peg and getting hit, but see, pop back up, pick it back up. And you gotta respect that because and it's a tough thing. Now, the thing is about mixed martial arts, it is starting getting a little more popular. I mean, we're getting good fights coming up. We just heard, tonight you have George Masvidal versus Kobe Covington. Because that's Jorge's name, because Spanish. Jorge's name Spanish for George, and you just recently the champion at 125, my favorite fighter, the Bullet fighting against Talia Santos. And who do you in the sport, like man and woman, who do you admire? Other than I know you admire Roxy, but who else are you a big fan of?
I definitely love. I love to watch Valentina Shevchenko. She's an amazingly technical fighter. I also think that her attitude serves her so well. Like her mind just is rock solid. It's bulletproof appropriately. But yeah, she's rock solid in her techniques. She never looks like she's in trouble, and I don't mean that to discredit her opponents, because she does go up against really skillful opponents as well. But I think the reason that she performs so admirably is just the consistency. Like she's, you want to take her down a lot. Like she's going up against an Andrade, or like she's like, well, I'll beat you in the clinch and the takedowns. I'll beat you on the ground. She's up against a more technical striker. She's like, okay, I'll beat you on the feet. She has just absolute extreme confidence in herself, and she has the skills and the work ethic to back it up. So she's fun to watch. I love Rose, Thug Rose. She's, just her story is one that really speaks to me, and her journey of self-acceptance, self-belief is very powerful to me. I absolutely admire that she's so all in on the sport. Um, gosh, there's a bunch of fighters I really admire and look up to, either from like a technical like fighter standpoint or martial artists, like the person that they are. Um,
Mhm.
and there's just there's a lot to love about the sport and the people who do it. It's really cool. It makes sense to me that it's getting more popular.
Yeah, yeah, Valentina. I call her the daughter of Ivan Drago. She must break you. You know, we go in ring together. You might not like that. I mean, I like Valentina. Also,
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Chris Cyborg. I think she's a great fighter. And I respect people like I used to be a John Jones fan. Kind of saw for him like 6 years, and Connor. I don't know about his luck. I call him Foster Lucky Charms. He ain't careful. He can go to jail. Be maximally delicious. Now, this is one question. This is the I want to ask you, and this is from a friend of mine. This is the guy who inspired me to do this. Mr. Coach Sherrod Harrison. This is a question, and if you can answer it, how do you get a Kimura?
How do I get a Kimura?
How do you get out of a Kimura?
Out of a Kimura. Don't get into it. Don't be there.
So, Coach, you don't get into a Kimura. You don't get a Kimura. You don't get into it, and it's the thing is that it's a tough competition out there. And your last fight, you first debut your opponent and you lost. I know this is how you cash the check. Now, are there any plans right now, or you just in a waiting pattern to see if they let you know something?
Yeah, definitely a holding pattern. But it is a very active one. It's the schedule becomes available. Like, oh, okay, we knew about Invicta FC 46. That's this upcoming Wednesday, the 9th. Should definitely tune in.
I
I'm not on
will.
that card. I'm just going to be watching it as a massive fan. But just in case something falls through, I mean, there is COVID. There are
Yeah.
issues with travel. So like, just in case, I'm always near my fight weight. I stay on diet. I stay training, and I tend to. Well, I don't. I just do what I'm told. But like my coach peaks my training in accordance with essentially the Invictus fight schedule. So I'll be ready to rock and roll if they call me. That night. It's just make it happen.
Yeah, I
But
know a fighter who I did interview a while back, Shamir Pasquale, if you know her. She was called the last minute fights against Romina Pasquale, who just got picked up to go to UFC. And that's the thing is that I think there should be always, I think we talk about this, how it should be if a fighter steps out, especially with injuries, now with the virus popping up. I mean, there's been some fighters that drop because of the virus and injuries. You should have a fighter waiting in the rings. I mean, hey, so you say, hey, just tell somebody, hey, you just been waiting just in case you get a call, and then when you need you, hey, we'll just bring you in here. You can set you up, and then boom, you take that person's place.
yeah, I mean, there's definitely a thought process for that. There comes to a point where, if you have 6 fights lined up and you have someone on standby for each of those fights, and they're all in different weight classes, or even if they're all in the same weight class, and then you have 2 drop out, it becomes. It's not the kind of thing that a company could justify the expense for, I think, if they're not actually getting a fight out of it. But I do consider it part of my job as a contracted athlete to be ready to perform. So that's just like opportunity comes knocking. I'm not gonna not open the door.
Mhm.
That's where I'm at with it. I don't care who it is. I don't care how long they've had to prepare. None of that matters to me. Like I am always doing this. This is my life. This is not like an activity I do for fun. This is not like a side hobby. This is not like a thing that's kind of cool that started to blow up. And I'm like, oh, why not? We'll see. We'll ride the train, see where it goes. Like, no, this is my life. I will always be doing this 100%. I will. This is all. This is who and what I am. This is what I'm forging myself into. So yeah, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a title fight. I don't care what. Like I will be ready at the drop of a hat.
You're
If I
down
can
for anything.
time, we'll be there.
You're down for anything. You have a nice little style to you, like you're kind of like a superhero thing.
Yeah.
Did you catch the Batman this weekend?
No, but I'm watching it. I'm watching it tomorrow, so no spoilers.
I didn't see it yet because where I live at, there's 2 theaters. One is like just a little way from here. One just like right across because where I live right like South Carolina. There used to be a movie theater over there. They closed down ever since the virus hit. There's a movie theater like where a little town next over. They closed down. I'm gonna have to go out to Fayetteville, Florence to go see if But I remember the last Batman movie I saw was Dark Knight Rises. I went to the theater and saw that. I mean, I love the whole Bale and Nolan series. It was one of my favorites. And and I like a fan of it. I like quoting stuff for it, like especially because if you look at my thing, I have this is my Joker. I just loved Heath. He ran with that character.
Yeah, he really rocked it. That was an incredible exercise in method acting.
Yeah, and I'm saw some stuff on YouTube of it, little stuff here and there. It looks a pretty good movie. I mean, people were kind of worried, concerned about Rob Pattinson, taking over in Bad Look at Twilight, but he's a good actor. You got to look at his other stuff instead of just Twilight movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't think anyone should be pigeonholed into anything based on something they did once in their life. I'm not the same person I was 7 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago. I'm like a completely different version of myself. So it would be completely unfair of me to act like someone was frozen in time forever and ever, like a Twilight vampire. But no, it would just I wouldn't do that. Everyone has the right to evolve, so I'm looking forward to this. And the teaser trailers look really exciting, and I like the score. So
I like the part where he's walking in the rain with the cape flowing and the penguin, and that's Colin Farrell. That's pretty good makeup. Yeah, they could have got another guy named Richard Klein. He's an actor. He was, remember the Gotham series. He played the mayor. He could have played them. I mean, thinking much, but my guess say they needed somebody. So, but yeah, it's look like it's a pretty good movie. Now it's been we don't want to hold you up because you just got from your massage. I know you want to get ready to eat. Do you have anybody you want to shout out to and like that?
Well, I always got to give a shout out to first and foremost my coach Graham Prue. He's amazing. I wouldn't even be like doing this sport seriously at all, actually probably at all, without him, but this is a journey that he emboldened me to embark upon, and he has been there every step of the way. He does a lot, like just above and beyond what even is reasonable for his fighters, and I'm not even special in that. He does that for everybody, so he's constantly giving, so I have to shout him out. You're amazing. My teammates, the Team Phoenix, you guys are the best. I absolutely love you, and I'm excited to see where your careers go, whether that's in fighting or elsewhere or both. There's so much potential and so much exciting stuff happening right now. Keep an eye out for Team Phoenix for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Big shout out to my sponsors, Wings Air Support, where also I work. Really, really awesome company. It's an aircraft parts brokerage essentially. So very specific demographic of people that would be interested in that. But if you need airplane parts, call them up. Ammo Massage. That's Alexa Garcia. That's where I just came from. She takes amazing care of me. Similarly, Summerfield Family Chiropractic. If you need either of those two services, they are worth the drive from wherever you are. I'm super not joking about that. Yeah. Doc Brown over at Summerfield Family Chiropractic, completely fixes my skeleton every time I go. Even my foot was messed up. For 2 weeks, I was taping it and kind of hobbling on it and walking funny. It was making my knee feel weird and my hamstring feel. I go in there and he's like, "Oh yeah, this bone is out of place." And he yanks it, puts it back, and I'm like, "I have no pain. What? How?" Just magic. And then Alexa, just absolutely amazing at what she does. Supplement Warehouse. They're at the Complete Nutrition location in Greensboro, but they're my supplement sponsor, and I am so grateful. They, from everything from straight up supplements from my protein powder that I use constantly to some of my vitamins and things like that are just so helpful to maintaining that good health, so that I'm not sick and injured and constantly struggling. Everything is I hit a rhythm and everything is good, and it's because of that nutritional support, and I'm super grateful for.
Yeah. And folks, as I said again, if you are interested in sponsoring her, if you're a sponsor who wants to sponsor up and coming young fighter, her social media stuff in the description. Also, if you want to donate, help her maybe in her next fight camp. Also, she has a PayPal. But as I said again, here's my rule. I'm telling every time when I do interview with you lovely ladies, no D pics, you sick freaks. You know, no one want you don't want to be that guy. No one want to see your chatty-whacker. No one want to see your little man. No one want to see your munchkin. No one want to see your your VN Sartre. None of that. You know, be respectful because these are women. These are athletes. This is somebody's mother. This is somebody's daughter. This is somebody's sister. Somebody's auntie. They are, you know, like I said, when I do interviews with women in MMA, women in bodybuilding, any woman in sport, because like I said, as you know, if you look at on YouTube or any channels, there's more channels dedicated to like men and these other sports, but so few dedicated to you ladies. Because the fact is, you know, like I said, you work just as hard, you put in just as commitment and passion in sport. It's just as your male counterparts, and you need just as much recognition. You know, not everybody's gonna be, you know, understanding and respectful for it, but the fact is, I respect you and what you do.
Because, thank you so much.
No. This is, like I said, I quote Batman, like what Jim Gordon said to we say that I forgot to thank you, and Batman said to him, "You don't have to. You never have to." So yeah. So anyway, folks, we'd like to thank you, Miss Katie Perez, for coming through. Wish you luck on an upcoming fight or anything in life. Like I said, we've been this is what makes me go for me, because this is somebody from my home state. You know, and I love to get somebody, Carolina Finest, I call her, and you know, and I love to get somebody from here. If you are, you know, it just makes me proud as a Carolinian, you know, especially North Carolinian, to support anybody in sport, of if it be wrestling, bodybuilding, boxing, you know, all sports that I like to watch. I am glad to support you, and I'm hoping, you know, we see you again. You know, and Shannon out there, put this girl on, put it on, and Dana White. Your whiskey ball headed, you know, put 105. We like to see, you know, do it tough for 105. You got to do that, Dana. You know, Dana, quick drag it.
105s are pretty great. I will say that. But hey, whatever you do, make sure you watch Invicta FC 46 this week. It's on Wednesday and it's on YouTube. So like, you have no excuse.
It's not hard. Not like, you know, or you can, you know, it's not like, you know.
A special streaming service. Get on YouTube. Watch it.
Yeah. Get on YouTube. You know, YouTube's easy. I'm on YouTube about all the time. But like I said, I'd like to appreciate Katie for her time. I really appreciate you. I appreciate my brothers, Marcus Bell, Execution 23, you know, King Dale Clark, you know, for coming here, and also, like, again, comment, like, subscribe, share, and I hope you have a nice day. So anyway, I'll end off like this. This should be all the way George Page, aka the Emperor of WMA Talk, coming to you live on Tutu. Don't subscribe. We're out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.